Did eating moldy bread cause the Salem witch trials? Let's get into it. So, I recently finished reading The Bewitching by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. Amazing book. I would recommend, by the way. But in the book, there was a passage talking about how one of the hypotheses for why the afflicted witches were acting so during the Salem witch trials was the idea that they were apparently just eating moldy bread. This hypothesis was first explored by Linda Caparel in the 1970s, who pointed out that the wet and cool climate of Salem in 1691 would have been the perfect environment for fungus to grow on rye crops. She also pointed out that the strange behaviors and symptoms that the afflicted witches were suffering from were similar to the symptoms of people eating bread that had been contaminated with a specific type of fungus called ergot fungus. Eating bread infected with this fungus results in ergotism, a symptom that can cause convulsions, hallucinations, muscle spasms, and tingling, which is actually quite similar to how the afflicted witches were documented to behave during the Salem witch trials. Interestingly enough, ergotism induces symptoms similar to LSD usage, meaning that Caparel was basically suggesting that individuals at Salem were essentially going on acid trips, but that's besides the point. Rye bread was also a dietary staple in Salem at the time, making it possible that people in the community could have just been eating moldy bread. But unfortunately, as interesting as this theory sounds, it's also likely not true. Several historians since have argued that the symptoms of ergot poisoning matches some, but not all, of the described behaviors that the afflicted witches were suffering from. And if moldy bread was truly the cause of all this hysteria, these symptoms should have been present in whole households or in the entire community, not just in specific individuals, because mold poisoning can affect everyone. Being deficient in some vitamins, specifically vitamin A, could have predisposed the Salem community to the symptoms of ergotism. However, vitamin A is present in high concentrations in fish and dairy, and Salem was notorious for being a fishing colony, so individuals in Salem likely didn't suffer from this deficiency either. All in all, what's more likely is that the Salem witch trials probably arose from a complex mix of social and religious factors, stemming from the fact that Salem itself was a very rigid and puritanical society.